Hello, this is Chef John from foodwishes.com with Pickle Brine chicken breast. That's right, this very juicy and flavorful chicken breast recipe came about during our now famous How to Build Your Own Brick Grill video. And during that demo, I promised I'd share a little experiment I did using pickle juice to brine chicken breasts. And at the risk of spoiling the surprise, this came out great. So check it out, it's super easy. And we're going to start by taking a mixing bowl and throwing in a little bit of brown sugar. We're also going to add some freshly ground black pepper, a little bit of kosher salt. We'll also do a little shake of cayenne. And then the star of the show, pickle juice. Now ideally you're going to do this when all your pickles are gone and all you have left is the brine. But since I wanted to test this, I didn't wait. I jumped the gun, or in this case, jumped the gherkin. But anyway, we're going to go ahead and add that juice to our bowl. And of course, pickles come with all kinds of brines, but they all generally should have about the same salt content. And that's really all we care about here. And if some dill seeds happen to fall in, or other spices, or a piece of pepper like this, no problem. It came packed with the pickles, you might as well use it. So we're going to go ahead and add our pickle juice. And we'll go ahead and give that a good stir until that salt and sugar have dissolved. Only going to take a minute. And then once our brine's all set, we're going to go ahead and submerge 2 large, boneless, skinless chicken breasts. And the only rule here is these have to be submerged in the brine. And I know I'm kind of pushing it. I only had a cup and a half of brine, but this is going to work. So we'll push those down in and down under. And then just to be safe, we'll go ahead and weight that down with a small plate. But then I realized because of the shape of that plate and the way I put it down, there might be air trapped under there. That's probably because I recently watched the Poseidon Adventure. But anyway, I decided to flip it over. Like I said, just make sure your chicken is submerged. And at that point, we're going to pop that in the fridge for a few hours to brine. And the rule of thumb I like is about an hour per inch of meat. So I let mine brine for a couple hours, which I figured would be more than enough. At which point we're going to pull that out of the fridge, remove our plates. And then one very simple but critical step. You must dry these breasts off. In fact, there's an old saying I just made up. If your meat goes on the grill wet, it's going to come off dry. So pat those dry very thoroughly and lovingly. We want to dry this off so it sears and not steams. And then once it's nice and dry, let's go ahead and season this up for the grill. I'm going to do a little drizzle of olive oil. And then we'll kind of repeat our seasonings with a little bit of cayenne, a little bit of pepper, a little bit of salt. You shouldn't need too much because of the salt content in the brine. And I'm just going to take a brush and kind of smear that all over on both sides. And that's really all we need to do before we head to the grill. And not just any grill, our homemade brick grill. I'm assuming you saw this video, but if you didn't, go check it out. So we're going to throw those down. Of course, we're going to do the old 10 and 2 grill mark trick. We have a video for that too, how to get those professional grill marks, just like a professional. I know you get those marks once in a while by accident, but check out the video. I will show you how to get those on purpose. But anyway, I went ahead and grilled that chicken. I'm going to say about 5 minutes per side. Giving times for grilling is very difficult, as you know. But what I like to shoot for is about 155 internal temperature, which is a little lower than most safety guidelines. But you know what? We got plenty of insurance around here. So I'm going to say that 155 to 160 is perfectly safe. So that's what mine was at right about here when I pulled it off. And it's time to head inside to see what we got. But not just yet. Even chicken breasts you want to let rest a little bit, especially ones like these that were particularly buxom. So we're going to cover that very loosely in foil and let that sit for about 3 or 4 minutes. And that will give you time to set up your plate or grab another adult beverage or whatever. And then once we've let that set for a few minutes, we're going to go ahead and plate it up. I serve mine very simply with a salad of little gem lettuce, red onions, and Santa Rosa plums. And then speaking of keeping things light, as far as the sauce, I went with a giant dollop of our famous garlic aioli, which I garnished with some diced pickles, because of the whole pickle brine thing. And that pickle brine chicken breast is ready to evaluate. So let's go ahead and cut in here. And I don't want to go right for the center. I figure if an end piece is going to be succulent and juicy, the rest of it's going to be even better. So we're going to go ahead and cut a piece. And it certainly felt moist and tender. And it was. That pickle juice pretty much seemed to have the exact same effect that I've gotten from other times I've brined chicken using a traditional method. And then let's go ahead and switch to a little lower angle, a little closer shot. And here you can much better see the effects of that pickle juice. You can see how moist and juicy that meat looks. And you'll have to take my word for it, but it was extremely tender and delicious. And yes, even that tiny little burnt piece I just inexplicably grabbed was still quite nice and pretty much edible. But anyway, that's it. Pickle brine chicken breast. Just a little quick and tangy experiment, which I think turned out very well. So I really do hope you give that a try. Head over to foodwishes.com for all the ingredient amounts and more info as usual. And as always, enjoy.